Hey there, welcome to day 36 of our Get Up and Go challenge, our free 40-day challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. We are talking about getting up and going. What does it take for you and me to get up and go, to take action, to know what we want to do, where we want to go, and how we're going to get there by taking action. And we use a little acronym, SOAP, to build and actually install a process at our subconscious level that will cause us to always come out of challenges, failures, obstacles, roadblocks, anything that gets in our way, any challenge, any change we need to make, and we'll handle it in an automatic way so that we end up better off after the thing happens than when it happened. We'll end up in a better position for us each and every time by using the SOAP framework. Today we are on the P of the SOAP framework. We've gone through the S, the O, the A. I personally am walking through it with my spiritual health in mind. There's 7 areas of our life. I've gone over these ad nauseum, I'm sure, so that you probably remember them. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, and contribution. However you remember those, I just discuss them by letter in my mind, and I have them at a subconscious level where I notice if something is on or off, if I'm on track toward what I want, or if I'm going in a direction that is off track, and it's just automatic now. But that comes from years of practicing this, years of actually doing this. So we've talked about, and you can pick any one of those areas of your life, whichever area you're going through or you're working on right now as part of the challenge. It's entirely up to you. I'm going through all 7 of them so that I can just give an example of how you might apply this to your life. Again, keep in mind, this is just how I'm applying it to my life. I'm at a probably different stage of spiritual or physical, mental, emotional development than anybody else in the challenge, than you. We're all different. We're all the culmination right now. Who we are right this very minute is a cumulative effect of all the experiences, all the thoughts, all the feelings, all the things that we faced in our past up until this point have led us to being where we are right now, the results that we're getting right now. So spiritually, I am working on, I discussed as part of the S, the story, the situation, where am I right now and where do I want to be? And all the rest of the process is about how do I get from where I am to where I want to be? Because that's the most important thing. Yeah, we can do all this work, we can figure out and complain about where we are right now. We can say, okay, yeah, well, this is where I am, la-di-da. We can go in our past and we can dig up all the reasons why we're the way we are right now. Or we can say, hey, this is where I am right now. This is where I am financially. This is where I am physically. This is where I am mentally. This is where I am with relationships. This is where I am spiritually. And we can say, okay, yep, this is where I am, but guess what? I don't have to stay here unless I choose to. Now, many people, me included, will have times in our life where we know we're at a certain situation and we're at a certain point in our life, and we consciously choose to not change or improve that situation. I've been in situations in my life where I've been in a certain physical condition that wasn't optimal for me, but I chose not to do anything about that because other areas of my life had to take priority. It's raising my children. Taking care of my kids always came before any physical ailment or anything I was having. I don't know about you, but when my kids were sick, it didn't matter if I could barely breathe or walk and was throwing up right along, not with them, but in another bathroom at the same time. I still had to make sure, and I still did make sure that they had everything they needed and that they were taken care of, just because that was how I believe a mom should be. We take care of our kids no matter what. And so sometimes that meant that certain aspects of my life had to go on the back burner. Not saying that's right or wrong. Sometimes there's things in my life that I put on the back burner that I shouldn't have put on the back burner all the way on the turned off back burner. I should have at least put a little heat on that burner. So P stands for progress. One of the basic human needs of all of us, all human beings, I don't care who you are, is to have a sense of or feel like we are making progress towards something. Now, some people want to make progress in a negative way and decline and create the worst version of themselves. The majority of us want to create the best version of ourselves. So we want to feel like we're always making some sort of progress in the direction we want our life to go. And when we're not, we get frustrated, we get angry, we lash out, we feel like victims, We behave in ways that aren't consistent and usually don't feel very good to us either. So we want to be making progress. Well, what does progress look like? We've done our lifeline. I'll do my lifeline exercise for my spiritual health. I have not done that yet. And I don't think I even went back and did I did do emotional. So I need to do my spiritual. I need to add spiritual to my lovely life exercise, my lifeline. And I'll do that. And we've talked about it a couple of times, so I don't feel like we really need to talk about it again here. It's a good exercise. Whether we believe it or not, every time I do it, I learn something new about myself, something new and different, and something I might have been overlooking for decades that I just didn't want to see. I wasn't ready to see it yet. So with progress, how do we feel like we're making progress? How do you feel like you're making progress? Because we might not be making progress, but we at least have to have the illusion and feel like we're making progress. Sometimes we do things and we continue to do them, and we just feel good about the activity. We just feel good because we're taking action. That is a very short-term way of looking at progress. Now, I'm guilty of that. I've had habits in my life where I'll do something. I'm thinking not spiritually, but well, spiritually. Let's think of one. I meditate, and I have a different version of meditation than other people, but I've been meditating for a long time in my own way. Now, I know that my own way isn't the optimal way or the most successful way or the best way to meditate. It works for me, it serves me well, but there's probably something out there, a modality or a tweak to my meditation that would make it more effective and a better experience, and I'd be making more progress, because I think of meditation sort of as a spiritual thing. It is a spiritual thing. It's a way to connect you with you. So I know I would be more effective if I were to study and dig into and look into a different way or different ways of tweaking my meditation practice. So maybe that's one of the things I'll do. I should have that on my list, my options list. But that's just an example I can think of, that I've been meditating the same way for years now, and it makes me feel better. It makes me feel like I'm making progress, but it definitely isn't giving me the impact that I know that a lot of people get from a more rigorous form of meditation. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to go to an ashram. It doesn't mean I'm going to go to, again, study with the monks in Nepal, but I know that that's an area of my life I could put some effort into, and I could tweak that practice a little bit. However, there's other areas of my life, especially right now, that are more high priority, and so those I'm working on more. But I feel like I'm making progress every day that I meditate. And we are, right? Even if we aren't getting the maximum benefit that other people get out of it, that just comes from comparing ourselves to others. And really, nothing good comes from comparing ourselves to others. Very seldom does comparing ourselves to other people ever make us feel better. I don't know about you, but whenever I compare myself to other people, I'm always comparing myself because I don't usually stack up. You know, if you can have the ability to do it the other way around and it makes you feel good, I guess to each his own or her own. But for me personally, somebody said comparisonitis the other day, and I'm like, okay, that is so perfect, because I've had a lot of itises in my life, and comparisonitis is definitely one of them. I didn't realize how ingrained that kind of a thing is until I was thinking about it on one of my walks the other day. I've lived with comparisonitis for like my entire life. I grew up in a family of all girls, and we were each a year apart, and it was just automatic. We always competed against one another, and we were just comparing ourselves to one another, and other people were always comparing us throughout our entire life, and that kind of thing gets ingrained in your being, and you don't ever question or think about it until you do, right? So continuous improvement. How do we make sure that we have continuous improvement, that we're making progress, that we're moving toward what we want at all times? I do that by making things habits or rituals or systems or processes. I figure out something that works, and then I make it a process and a system, which is probably one of the reasons my meditation practice hasn't changed for a very long time. I'll put a system in place and I just automatically do it. It's like having a morning routine. I have a morning routine, and it took me literally years to develop my morning routine, and I continue to follow the same morning routine until something changes and I need to alter it. For example, when I started watching my granddaughter during weekdays for her folks. I had to change my morning routine. I had to change how and when I do things. I had to take my exercise from the morning, which is when I prefer to do it, and put it in the evening or the afternoon after she goes home. I had to do things like change the times that I actually make a video like this. And when I make videos and when I do some of my coaching calls and when I do some of my other things, I just had to work them around my schedule with her. Why? Because she is always going to be a higher priority than anything else in my life. My kids were a higher priority when I was working, not always. That was the reason I got into just running my own businesses versus staying in corporate America. Yet I found myself sucked into the void of business ownership and spending more time in my own businesses than I was actually working in corporate America. And I overworked in corporate America. So there's always lessons learned. That's a continuous improvement. Always striving to be a better version of ourselves. So today, progress with respect to spirituality. I looked at my options list, and there's really good things on my options list, and I took action yesterday, and my action was to continue to work on the Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting playbook. And you might think it's cheating a little bit because I'm actually going through this book as part of my relationship continuous improvement as well. And it could be, I could even be my emotional and my mental as well, because it's a really great book for all the areas of our lives. But that's what I'm doing, and that's what I'm committing to do. I'm spending about an hour a day every evening on this right before I go to bed, and that's enough time for me to personally commit to the spiritual area, the mental, and the emotional area of my life. Now, each of us is different. It's up to us to decide what action we want to take moving forward, what we want to do depending on the area of our life we're focusing on. As much as it would be awesome to have the energy and the capacity to focus on all 7 of these areas, I personally have found that if I am consciously working on more than 3 areas at a time, I get diffused and I end up not feeling like I'm making progress in all the areas. So if I have a tool like this particular book for me, and you can find a tool that works for you, going through a workbook is really, I think, and for me, it's one of the best things to do, because I'm taking action, I'm learning, I'm questioning, I'm covering several areas and aspects of my life simultaneously. So like I said, this book alone is relationships, physical, mental, emotional, not physical so much, but you're taking actions. You're physically having to do the activities in the playbook. So that kind of hits physical, and it doesn't really hit financial. But if you get all of these other areas in your life in alignment and you're living consistently with them for you, finances take care of themselves. I think as humans, at least Americans, we put so much emphasis on finances, and we think that, if I just am rich enough, if I just have enough money in the bank, then I'm going to be happy. And it's absolutely positively not true. If we're happy, then we'll create the value in the world that rewards us. So that is my long-term progress. That's the thing I'm going to do. And our assignment, our action item today is to pick one thing and say, hey, what am I going to do moving forward? And is there a way that I can make it automatic, make it a system, add it to my morning routine, add it to my evening routine? This is part of now my extended end of the day routine. And there's all kinds of other things that I do at the end of the day, which I haven't really even talked about. I mean, I do a gratitude journal. I love at least thinking about gratitude as the last thing I do before I drift off to sleep every night. And it's amazing. I fall asleep right away because I think of all the things I'm grateful for right before I go to sleep. And that makes me sleep better and have better sleep as well. So there's things like that we do and we put in place to automatically reinforce the different areas and aspects of our life that we want to see progress in, that we need to feel progress in. Love to know if you have any questions about this. Hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow, and we are on the home stretch. Not only the home stretch, but like almost the end. I got nervous yesterday thinking, oh my God, it's day 35. It's almost over. What's next? What do we have to do next? So take care. Have an awesome day. Questions, hit me up below or direct message me, and we will make sure you get your questions answered. I will make sure you get your questions answered during this challenge. All right. Have a fantastic day. Think about what you're going to do. What would make you feel like you're making progress in a continuous way for the area that you're working on. All right.